Now we will move toward negotiations with regard to Iran on the nuclear deal. And based on our understanding, if the deal sticks the way it is, they'll go for a period of 60 days. What do they get from that? We don't know. We know what the Iranians have done for years. They delay and delay and delay. And is it 60 days, or does 60 go to 90?
Not releasing any of the text is a choice since they have digitally signed it. So not quite an auto pen, but the thing is done. So you should have put it out there for people, especially for your supporters, because he has had a lot of people on his side who are saying this had to happen for 47 years. They've been a huge threat. And I think that it is also meaningful that just a couple of hours ago, Netanyahu was giving a press conference where he said, I haven't been able to see it. So the country that we went into the war with hasn't seen it, but they've allowed the Iranians to sign on to it.
Donald Trump's Iran deal is running into a major problem, and that problem is that even Fox News are asking, where is this actual deal? That's right, not MSNBC, not CNN, not even just the resident voice of sanity, Jessica Tarlov, on Fox News, but Fox hosts and guests that all often coddle Trump. They are unifying under the same sentiment. How can this be the most transparent administration in history when nobody knows what's in this deal or even if a deal exists?
On the so-called MOU, I just have one basic question, which is, if this deal is so good, why can't the public see it? Even without all the details, here's what we do know. Donald Trump hasn't made anything materially better. Things have gotten worse. 13 service members dead. 3,000 Iranians killed. Tens of billions of dollars, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars in 3 months. And prices spiked everywhere. Gasoline, utilities, fertilizer, groceries. Everything is more expensive. And despite all of that, none of Donald Trump's original objectives have been met. He wanted to annihilate Iran's military capabilities, and that has not happened. He wanted to abolish their nuclear ambitions, and that has not happened. Any agreement on nuclear weapons still needs to be negotiated and is very unlikely to be better than the original deal under President Obama.
So let's start first of all on Fox News, the fight, right? Well, as we come to expect, Jessica Tarlov pointed out the fallacies in Trump's claims, but after that, she was echoed by host Dana Perino, who challenged the White House over its lack of transparency on the Iran Memorandum of Understanding. Perino asked whether this is really the, quote, most transparent administration in history if the White House is asking Americans to just accept a major Iran deal after everything that's transpired without actually showing them the document or what's in it.
All right, Dana, they're trying to say this isn't a significant difference from this agreement. Well, there are some significant differences. Most of their leaders are dead. Their military infrastructure has been demolished. They can't concentrate on exporting terror because they have to they're barely keeping themselves together. So there is a difference here. The deal may sound similar, but you're dealing with an entirely different atmosphere.
It's well, I could make their arguments better for them because there are things that you could say that you would be able to think, okay, so you killed all of those 40 leaders, but now the IRGC is in charge. Okay, so that's who we're dealing with, and that's who we're supposed to stand next to on Friday and sign an agreement that nobody's seen or read, except for this is the most transparent administration history, but we can't read it. Like I could make all of those points.
You have to stop doing that, Dana.
I think she sounds
They
great.
don't call me. But the thing, like we said at the very beginning, the victories are usually visible, clear, understandable, and it's just premature to say. We haven't even read the information. I would, if I were the Democrats, I would be saying that you telegraph everything else. Why won't you just let us read the thing? And I think there's maybe two reasons for that. One, things are still being worked out behind the scenes, which would be, I guess, understandable. It's like they jumped the gun perhaps and saying, there's a deal, it's great, everything's moving, but wait, and then an hour later, no, it's not, but maybe it is. And I try to keep up with it all day long. I think the best thing we could tell our viewers right now is to say, we got to wait and see. It looks like there could be progress here, at least in getting this to end and the possibility of oil to start moving. Maybe that can then translate into some lower prices here at home. But in the meantime, you do have to look at the fact that but for going even back, Soleimani was killed. The Operation Midnight Hammer that put the uranium underground in the first place. The fact that they were able to blow up all of the leadership, and including, I would go back even to what the Israelis did with the pagers, and having all of that intel in there. Like all of that is different and better and puts us in a better position than we were 10 years ago.
Right.
Or even more than that, like when the JCPOA written by Obama was there. The interest
front. Arguably, they have already gotten, first of all, the sanctions relief, but also the U.S. brokered a financial deal between the Qataris and the Iranians, meaning they already got money transferred. And you're talking about huge sums, $24 billion, $300 billion investment fund that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff want really bad so they can continue building luxury resorts or whatever they're going to go do with it. The Obama deal was only $1.7 billion in unfrozen assets of their money, and they could only get to 3.7% enriched uranium.
Okay. Anything else?
And this follows another major setback for the president, right? When Fox News contributor and retired General Jack Keane, well, he didn't hold back when he was offering his thoughts on the same memorandum. This after the two sides said that they agreed to a framework to discuss acceptable terms for ending the ongoing war. However, the memo hasn't been made public, and much of its contents just seem to be speculation at this point. One provision allegedly in the document would allow access to $300 billion in reconstruction funding, a measure acknowledged by Vice President J.D. Vance on Monday. He said that Iran, quote, could receive such a sum, but he added that none of the money would be coming from the United States.
Action will be taken. But I can't square some of the things that are coming out of the administration from reliable sources. That's what I find so disturbing. When I heard it from the Iranians, Sean, I dismissed it. I said, that's the same nonsense we were always hearing. Well, but when I hear from administration sources some of the things that you have heard and what's in this deal, that makes no sense whatsoever. It's not defensible. I think what the president should do is just let's release it and let people see what's out there so we stop debating about something none of us has seen.
We hear what the president says. He says their Navy is at the bottom of the water. The Air Force is done. They've been degraded in missiles. However, we see Iranian missiles fire at U.S. bases and fire at ships. They're saying that the strait's going to be open completely. Iran says something differently in how they talk about it.
Yeah, they're talking about still controlling the strait. And so the question I think the president may be discussing with our G7 partners is whether we can independently control the strait ourselves going forward so that Iran cannot in the future extort us.
Now, this is especially damaging, right? Not only because countless Trump sycophants and Trump himself are constantly trying to disparage Obama's deal where it was allowing Iran to access their funds that were frozen.
But of course, we did litigate this, and we already went through this before, that President Obama actually sent Iran money, as opposed to actually President Trump trying to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. But I want to get your take on what China said, because the president is making news right now. He just spoke on Air Force One to reporters, and he said that China agreed to buy 200 Boeing planes with the potential commitment of buying 750 jets. He also said that China agreed to buy soybeans, and he said that he would consider lifting sanctions on Chinese companies purchasing oil, but no decision has been made yet. Now, the president said that he did get a commitment from Xi Jinping that China would buy oil from America. We don't know if they're going to keep that promise, but he said they're going to send Chinese ships to Louisiana and Texas to buy American oil. And then on Taiwan, there were other things said, but let me get your take on those deals right now. What is your assessment of this trip?
Sure. I just have to say, for the record, my view is that President Obama didn't give money to Iran. He unfroze Iranian assets, but we can have that conversation some other time. Let me say on Boeing, I'm glad that China is buying their Boeing planes, but they're only buying...
But Congressman, wait, why unfreeze assets? Why give Iran, the leading state sponsor of terrorists, $2 billion so that they could go give that money to the proxies that they support, like Hezbollah and Hamas? Why unfreeze money?
It was Iranian money that was unfrozen for 97% of enriched uranium to get out of the country. Right. President Trump tore that deal up. Now there's tons of enriched uranium.
They never made a commitment
and the reality is
to stop building a weapon. So why send them $1.7 billion when you didn't even have a commitment to stop building a weapon? You yourself said you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Just so we're factual, he didn't send them money. It was their money that was unfrozen. I acknowledge it was unfrozen.
Why unfreeze
what we got out of it is
you say it was their money. Other people say it wasn't their money. It was stolen money. But that's fine. Let's say it is their money. Why unfreeze the money? That you never got a commitment that they would stop building a nuclear weapon. Why are you sending them $1.7 billion so that they could go give it to Hamas?
He got a commitment for 15 years, 97% of rich uranium out. Instead, what did we get? We had them having 60% enriched uranium when Trump tore up the deal.
But Trump downplays any form of pushback that comes towards him as fake news. And Fox, they're not supposed to do this to Trump, right? Fox is supposed to smooth things over. They're supposed to say, Trump agreed a historic, strong, bold agreement with Iran. But their own people are asking questions on how this could be possible for the most transparent administration in history when the White House seems to be running cover for a deal that doesn't project strength at all. The American people deserve to know where this agreement is to start with. What are the terms? What did Iran agree to? What did America give up? I want to know what happens if Iran violates it. What sanctions are lifted? What role do Russia, China, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, or Saudi Arabia play in all of this? And what exactly is being signed here, considering the fact that the majority of Americans oppose this conflict to begin with, only to see their cost of living skyrocket as a result? These questions deserve to be answered. Otherwise, what was all the pain for? The loss of life, the never-ending turmoil for what Obama had already had in place through diplomatic means. And Fox's opposition isn't happening just in isolation here. They've already aired a damaging montage showed Trump repeatedly claiming an Iran deal was close for weeks, 9 weeks, John Roberts, the host, pointed out after playing clip after clip of Trump saying that a deal was imminent. This also follows suit with how many times Trump and his MAGA contingent have claimed the war has been won.
Of billions of dollars of reconstruction costs just to get to where they were 6 months
ago. Mr. Rubio, you keep telling us how we're winning this war. The president keeps saying,
well, the war is over.
Completely annihilated. The war is not over. And yet the American people see how we're losing at the pump and with their costs, and yet this thing still hasn't been resolved. Every day he tweets out, oh, we've obliterated them, we've annihilated them, they're going to surrender, but yet we still find ourselves spending billions of dollars a week
Senator Booker,
war abroad.
You've gone way over. And
it would be nice if we had hearings where people
Thank you, Senator Booker. Senator Scott.
And at some point, you have to acknowledge that the great deal maker, Fox, has spent years enabling, sold them a lie. Also, Trump is trying to convince Americans that the conflict is ending. He's trying to calm markets. He's trying to show allies at the G7 that the war has produced some sort of result that wasn't there in the first place under Obama. But when Trump's own media ecosystem are calling into question his ability to secure a deal, it makes it harder for the president to sell this war as some sort of victory.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.